I like to call this one True Believers. Most people can recall the moment they discovered the earth-shattering truth about the existence of Santa Claus. I, for one, had a very unique relationship with the man himself. He visited me and my brothers every year, on time, without a doubt. My mother would creep into our rooms at around 1 or 2 a.m. Christmas morning. As soon as her white robe would pierce the dark of our doorway, we sprung out of beds like trained ninjas. Stealth. We knew the protocol. Patrick, the littlest one, not so much, but he would learn, for we were a proud family, the only family on earth, probably, that witnessed the man himself on time by the tree early Christmas Day. To add to the mystery, after spying on him for a fleeting 2 minutes or less, a blinding flash of light would sweep across the room. We'd wake up in our beds with the sun shining, mom's clatter in the kitchen, coffee trickling and steaming. We'd yell and scream about Santa to our father and how, again, he missed him. We'd ask him why he wouldn't come with us, and he'd always say, "Oh, I'm too old for that stuff. Santa's come for you guys, not for me." As the years passed, it became much harder for me and for my social life to keep the spirit of Claus alive. When the season came around, I was often taunted and dismissed at school because I'd ask my friends what they were writing to Santa for. They'd laugh and declare, "He doesn't exist," and I'd testify to them like a televangelist. "He does exist. I've seen him with mine own eyes." "Prove it," they'd say. I don't know how. Take a picture." "I can't. My mom won't let me. He might see us. It's against the rules." "You're lying. You don't see him." But I did see him. And the truth must be set free. A year passes, we all get a little older, Santa arrives. Pat, Kelly, and I, like snap, crackle, and pop in a row, watch Santa in the dead of night, lit aglow by a glorious tree, gracefully setting our gifts below. Their faces filled with awe and wonder as we watch the man himself, safe behind the spindles of our staircase. And then, once again, a blinding flash of light. We arise from our beds, not knowing how we got there. And then it dawned on me. I will ask my parents how to prove to the kids at school that Santa Claus exists. Couldn't be more simple. I'm sitting at the table with my mom discussing my dilemma with the kids at school and who are so helplessly bereft of the one greatest phenomenon known to man, which is Santa Claus. "They don't even believe he exists, Ma. They don't even," I say. I ask them, "How do you know? How can you say that he doesn't exist with any certainty?" They'd say, "My mom and dad told me he doesn't exist." "My God, Mom, not only do the kids not believe, but their parents don't either. Something must be done. We've been seeing him for years now. I'm almost 12 years old. There's got to be something." My dad in the corner, cracking a pistachio, says, "Why don't you get his autograph?" "Autograph? But I can't go up to him. He'd see me. That's against the rules." "Okay," he said. "That's true. You should never, ever go up to him. But you can leave it out with the cookies and milk, and write 'sign here' or something. I don't know. He'd figure it out." Another year comes to a close. Seasons change. There's a faint soupçon of puberty in the air. And it was winter. A fresh composition notebook had been purchased for the sole purpose of obtaining the autograph of St. Nicholas. I had brought this sacred ledger to school one day and planned to make some speech or other at recess to the Philistines I once knew, but hopefully now future brothers. They agreed. Obtaining the signature would be enough. They seemed excited. I certainly was. This was a major breakthrough. We were in Florida that year. Everything went as planned. The notebook in plain sight by the refreshments, which were never abstained upon. After watching the man himself adorn our tree and partake in milk and cookie dunking, we were again quite literally blinded by the sudden and mysterious flash of light. I woke that morning realizing I hadn't seen Santa sign my book. I panicked and I fled to the refreshments, and lo and behold, in red ink, a breathtaking demonstration of ornate calligraphy. It was ancient looking, with many flourishes and swashes and ligatures. No human could sign his name this way. It was godly, and it was enough. I was more pleased by the autograph than mine own gifts. They didn't matter. Justice did. I brought the book to school on the first day back. A couple were truly floored, legitimately questioning their beliefs, and then, of course, the naysayers. Your dad probably did it. My dad cannot write like that. He probably did. He didn't. That's Santa's signature. They didn't buy it. I was stumped. So disappointed. So much energy and time. But I was determined. The year unraveled, and so did my new plan. It erred on the extreme, but I came to the conclusion of withholding my Santa letters with the intention of mailing them myself. Usually, I just hand them over to my parents when they asked without question. My mother did not approve of this. My father did not approve of this. My friends approved. It was final. I was keeping the letters. It was revolutionary. I had never been so rebellious in my life. I was drunk on it. I'd had enough. I was almost 13. December rolled around. Not a week in, my grandfather died while running his morning run. My father's father. Massive blow. The only time I've seen my father weep uncontrollably. Family from all over flying in. It was a hard time. The longest December I can remember. I got a knock on my door. It was my dad. He entered, shut the door behind him. There was a minor stare-off. And then, give me your letters. What letters? You know what letters. I'm mailing them myself. Are you sure about that? Yes. I want to prove to the kids at school that Santa Claus exists. A beat. And then he says, look, it's about time you knew. Santa Claus doesn't exist. I've been dressing up as Santa since you were an infant. And then your brothers came along and your mom, and I thought, well, this is just the greatest thing on earth. I looked at the clock. I couldn't look at him. I was frozen. Your brothers, he said, they don't need to know. You're too old for this. We thought we'd let it ride out, until you figured it out. It took longer than we'd expected. But Pat and Kelly, they're still young. I won't say anything, I said. I've been thinking, he said. It might be a cool idea, and you don't have to go along with it, but I thought I'd ask you now. Would you be my elf? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe things could go even farther south than they had already gone. My grandfather dying, my dad revealing himself as Santa Claus, killing the man himself, the kids at school, the humiliation of having been wrong this whole time, and then I'm asked to be an elf. I had even begun to mourn. A full minute of silence, a real minute. I was too busy not looking at him to speak. So many years. What do you think? He said. And then I said, okay. We were in Florida again that year. He got me an elf suit. It was neon green, the real deal. He was so excited. I remember him gluing these Spock ears he had bought and literally crying his eyes out, laughing so hard, quietly. He had bought a mustache kit with several options just in case the elf suit and Spock ears were not enough. We smacked one of those babies right on, and it was showtime. Ma in her white robe awaiting the cue to creep into the room and awaken the sleeping ninjas, while Dad and I carefully set the scene. I have no idea how ridiculous I looked, but I surely felt unrecognizable, and I'm sure that was good enough for Pat and Kelly, who were slowly being escorted in down the hallway. Their gasps. There's an elf. He brought an elf. I could not believe how loud they were. Were we always that loud? I was appalled at how unruly they were. There were rules, and they were breaking them. I was getting frustrated. Do I really have to pretend that I don't hear them? I mean, they wouldn't be doing that if I were there with them, I thought. In a moment of weakness, I glanced at them sharply, and then, Mom, that elf looks like Casey. My mom gasps. I hear my dad beneath his strap-on beard go, oh, shit. He thrusts his hand into the red jacket and pulls out a cheap Kodak disposable camera, and he hits that flash button over and over and over again. My eyes adjusted, and they were gone, sound asleep. My stint as an elf was over. It was for the best. Dad went solo for maybe one more year, just for Kelly and Pat, and I would stay behind. The following summer, Pat, the littlest one, goes crawling around the attic looking for some put-away gadgets. He comes upon a large trash bag. He unravels it and finds a crumpled-up Santa suit and an old, faded, and dusty Polaroid marked Xmas 1988, with a jolly young man holding a thumbs up in one hand and his other stuffing a pillow where his belly would be. Entirely thrown by this find, Pat climbs back down, finds his mom in the kitchen alone, and asks, what is this? Why is Dad in a Santa suit? Hey, is Dad Santa? My mom says, don't tell your brother.